Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to another episode of People's Questions, where I answer all the awesome questions that you guys have sent me over the past week. I say we got a pretty standard episode, though we did get a lot of comments in the comment section of the last episode. So starting off real simple with a regular of mine going by the name of Andrew Rogers, and he wanted to know, if I were to go out on a date with Tifa, what would I do, or where would I take her, is pretty much what you're asking. Now, believe it or not, I've actually thought about this for some time. Now, this is what I would do. First, I would take her to my local gym so we could work out for a good 2 or 3 hours. Then, I would probably take her to probably the fanciest bar I know here in Vegas. And then afterwards, just for closing, I would then take her out to the outskirts of the city to get away from all the lights of Vegas. That way, we could actually look up and watch the stars. Now, the reason I would do each one of these specifically is because I think each one kind of factors into a personal trait that she has. Number one, she is a fighter. She is a physical fighter, so I think working out would be kind of a pretty main thing. And I think she'd look pretty damn hot in that outfit of hers. Number two, I would take her to a very fancy and very impressive bar because, as some of us know, she is a bartender. So I'm pretty sure she can handle her alcohol pretty well. So maybe she could teach me a thing or two. And the reason that I would take her out to the outskirts of the city so we could watch the stars is because it would be very reminiscent of the last time that Tifa and Cloud hung out as children. Because if you know the story, on Cloud's last night with her as a child, they went out to this, like, I don't know, it's kind of like water tower, and they just kind of gazed up at the stars just talking. So with me being able to kind of maybe put those kind of elements together back to back, I think that would show them I would be pretty serious and would really like to date her. Next question comes from Goku-san, and he had a pretty funny question that I'm happy to say that another viewer actually perfectly took the words right out of my mouth. And you want to know, how powerful do I think Chris would be if he had Commander Shepard's cybernetics from Mass Effect 2? And the immortal super being pretty much said very, very smartly, no boulder would be safe. Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I'm sorry. I don't think Chris needs any cybernetics from Mass Effect. Anybody that can punch a boulder manly is doing just fine. So I personally don't think he'd need them anyway. Next question comes from Santa Starpini. You want to know, which is my favorite to and least favorite boss in Metal Gear Solid 3? Okay, my favorite boss, I would have to say my favorite boss would probably be the boss. Gotta be honest, probably the boss. That's probably my favorite. My least favorite would probably have to be, I want to say Ocelot. I think the second encounter where basically you're on there's this like giant crack in the ground, and you're on one side and he has on one side, and you're kind of just trying to shoot each other, and he has like a couple of his men behind me so I don't escape. Not really a big fan of it. I mean, it's not a terrible boss fight. It's just, you know, it's definitely very, very Ocelot, but it's just not very challenging. It just doesn't have much character. I mean, it has character. It's just not very interesting. It just seems a little bit cliche. When you take on the members of the Cobras, they all battle you in their elements, and that's something I really, really enjoyed about those boss fights that just isn't present in the Ocelot fight. Next question comes from Hugo Blood 881, and you want to know, given Obi-Wan Kenobi's abilities as a Jedi, would he be able to defeat Cloud Strife? Yes, easily, yes. I'm sorry, Cloud would not stand much of a chance against Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the most powerful Jedi in the entire Jedi Order's history. I have no question about, heck, there's a good possibility he wouldn't even need his lightsaber to beat Cloud. I mean, his strength with the Jedi mind trick alone might be enough to beat Cloud, because you have to remember that the Jedi mind trick works well against the weak-minded, and while Cloud is not weak-minded, he's definitely shattered. I mean, Sephiroth can manipulate him all the time, and although, you know, he has to some degree been able to somewhat break that control, For someone like Kenobi who has a lot more discipline with the ability, I think Cloud would have an even much harder time dealing with Kenobi's use of the Force. So no, Cloud, Strife, either Advent Children or Final Fantasy VII would definitely lose to Kenobi without question. Next question comes from Matthew Vader. You want to know, which genre of music do I think should have its own video game? Oh, okay, this is weird because how you word it, I'm not even sure what this means. But I'm just reading it as it's spelled, so I'm trying to figure it out. Which genre of music do I think should its own video game because of the art design made on their albums? I'm guessing I'm guessing that you think that video games should have its own genre of music, which I don't think is necessary because its music can easily be fitted into genre of musics that already exist. I mean, just listen to the soundtrack of Metal Gear Rising. I mean, heck, I mean, I own the soundtrack to that, so it doesn't really need its own genre of music. Next question comes from Diadrive CJ, and you want to know, which two Force users would fare best against Nate Gray, aka X-Man, both legends or canon? Okay, this is too easy. Alright, two characters that would definitely be able to fare with him. Grandmaster Luke and Palpatine in his prime. These two would totally dominate them because these are the two most... In terms of official canon, or technically legends at this point, Grandmaster Luke and Palpatine are really in terms of raw power, the most powerful users of the Force in their departments. I mean, Sidious is openly... He's openly recognized as, in terms of magnitude, the most powerful Sith, and Luke is openly recognized as the most powerful Jedi of all time. So there's no question in my mind they'd be able to beat Nate Gray. Next question comes... Okay, I'm going to try to say your name, but you go by the name of Tenri Not. I'm sorry. There's your question down below. I'm real terrible with names. But you wanted to know, have I ever played a game that was addictive to the point of annoyance? Yes, I have. The Pokemon games. The Pokemon games are insanely addictive. But they never change, so it's kind of annoying. But I think that just kind of speaks to just how addictive the standard Pokemon game formula can be. I mean, I think like the last Pokemon game I did play was Soul Silver, and that was because I personally believe that after the Johto League region, Pokemon it got a little bit too big for me. I mean, trust me, I was with Pokemon from the very, very beginning. I was one of those people that had all 151 Pokemon memorized, and I could even do it in alphabetical order. And then you go to the Johto League and they add another 100, and I don't even know how many Pokemon they have now. Ooh, it's like 700 and something and 800 something. It's just like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I would definitely say the Pokemon games. I still enjoy playing them every once in a while, but yeah, they can get very, very addicting. Next question comes from Matt Cruz. You want to know, what is my favorite movie trilogy? Well, as it stands right now, it is the Toy Story trilogy, but sadly that is about to end when they officially release Toy Story 4, which I don't want them to do. Toy Story 3's ending was just so perfect. Next question comes from Jalen Bradford, and you want to know, do I think that Dante and Leon S. Kennedy share the same personality? No, I think that there's certain traits about their personality that are similar, but no, they are have very, very significantly different personalities, without question. And let's see what else we got. I think we got maybe 3 more questions. Maybe 3 more. The next question comes from the Immortal Super Being, and you want to know, if Ayla was a Force sensitive, who do I think would be her chosen master? There's no question in my mind. I think she would go with Shaak Ti. If there's one thing that Aloy, part of Aloy that really stands out to me, is she's very in touch with nature, and I think that Shaak Ti's ability to affect nature itself would be a very, very powerful ability. If you've read the Star Wars The Force Unleashed novel, you would know that Shakti was so powerful in the Force that while she was with Felucia, she was actually able to kind of control the overall nature of the planet itself, so that when she died, it like immediately fell to the dark side. So I think that would be a very, very powerful ability for Aloy to learn. Next question comes from JBat. You want to know, am I still not surprised at the massive success of Wonder Woman? I don't give a shit about its success. I'm still not going to go see that film. Bottom line, period. It is a blacklisted film. And the last question of the episode comes from Abel, and you want to know, would I ever like to have my own line of merchandise? Oh yeah, sure. If I got big enough, if I had like 100,000 subscribers, I think wanting to have my own merchandise would kind of be a given, something I would just have to do. I mean, I would just be kind of encouraged to do it. But yeah, maybe one day. And with that, those are all the questions you guys sent in for this week. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode possible. If you guys have any more questions, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but please make sure you get them in before Wednesday. If you put them out on Thursday, I will just answer them in the comment section, so please be wary and make sure it's only one question per person. So with that out of the way, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.